3, 2, 1.
All right, good afternoon. We have with us here today entrepreneur Dürnhöfer. He has been an entrepreneur for many years here in Maryland, and he's focusing his venture in the software development market. Welcome, Jan.
Thank you. Thank you.
So please, this is for our class. Tell us a little bit about your ventures, how you started your venture in the software development business here.
Sure. So our company is called Graphical Networks, just like the two words, Graphical Networks. And the name says a little bit about what we do. We are a software company, and we develop one product. So it's what's called a COTS product, commercially off the shelf available. B2B, so large companies, they buy it. And it's called NetTrain. It's used, if you want to sum it up in a few words, it's kind of like Google Earth, but for your networks. So if you're a large company and you need to document your network or your data center, and then you have a graphical software available that lets you map out your whole network in an easy way with just a browser.
For any company, I mean,
Yeah,
medical
company,
industry
yeah.
software?
Actually, we have a lot of hospitals that use it.
Okay.
Boston's Children's Hospital, Hartford Healthcare, and a number of other hospitals use it. So they buy it as a commercial product, and usually they're trying to replace spreadsheets, databases, homemade systems. At some point they outgrow that because they have just too much IT equipment and too much stuff in their networks, which costs a lot of money, and at some point it becomes very inefficient to manage it with just a spreadsheet, so they go and buy our product. So that's what we do.
Right. So tell us what got you to that point to developing this software. What got you into doing your venture in software development? There has to be a point where you decided to open up your own startup.
Yeah, I was already in the business. So I was working for another company doing something similar, IT visualization. I was product manager there, coming up with the features and what the customers needed in terms of that. We saw a lot of deficiencies in the current product offerings, and then in 2008 the whole financial crisis hit.
Right.
And I found myself at a crossroads, and I could have perhaps decided to just switch gears with a different company. I wasn't very happy with what I was doing back then for that current company, or start my own. And I was not the only one. Some of my former coworkers, they found themselves in the same situation, so it was a little bit of necessity. It's not that I set myself to start something, when I was a little kid. It was the necessity of the moment, the context. Yeah.
So we can say today that the economy and the global economy has been hit by COVID-19. So we would say today that there's some necessity that COVID-19 came and it made an impact effect towards the different markets, whether it's healthcare, the automotive industry, the housing market, but some companies, including yours, may be evolving too, or may have other markets to target because of COVID-19.
Yeah, I am sitting on a sort of board forum of CEOs of small software companies, and I hear that all the time, that with COVID, obviously things have changed. And in a lot of cases, it has created new opportunities to shift gears or veer into a slightly different direction. In our case, I guess if the question is how much did COVID impact our business, because we are in the network management, IT management space, COVID didn't have a negative impact. If anything, it was a little bit of the opposite, because everyone needs to be on the network. Especially now, everyone is on Zoom, and a lot of people are in community work, so they're working from home, and networks are busier than ever. So
you saw a little bit of growth in your own term.
We actually grew in 2020. I'm not sure the growth was necessarily because of COVID, because it was kind of the same growth rate we were having already. But for sure, it didn't have a negative impact. But we saw a lot of companies that, in the case of COVID, they had to change their model, their business model, the way that we're doing things, and some cases it was harsh. Other companies, they benefited from it. So, but that's, I mean, that happens. Of course, COVID is once in a lifetime thing, but crisis, you see that once a decade, once every 5 years. In the life of the company, you see it all the time, and everyone has their own little micro universe where something happens and then you have to shift gears. So that's the life of the entrepreneur.
Right. So taking a look at the market here in Maryland, Maryland is a housing bubble for the medical industry. I mean, we have universities like Johns Hopkins, Maryland University, Howard, we have Georgetown, and we have federal agencies like the NIH. During the Trump administration, the federal government instituted some grants and funding to the NIH exactly directed towards increasing funding towards healthcare. I know that you mentioned that your company is devoted to some healthcare in hospitals and developing mapping networks. Did that came because you knew the market, or because you had relatively contacts within the industry here in Maryland, or a combination of the both?
You mean how did we get those?
Right.
Yeah, that's a good question. It's important for anyone running a business. What's your go-to-market strategy, right? How do you gain customers? And we could be talking for an hour or several hours about that. Specifically, healthcare is not something that we target with laser-like focus because our customer isn't necessarily one particular vertical. It's a department within any vertical. So we have customers in the manufacturing sector, education, federal agencies, commercial companies, health, you name it. So we are present in pretty much any vertical and in over 40 countries. So it is not regional or vertical related. It's more intra company related. Which part of the company would benefit from our tool? And that's definitely the IT department. So people within IT that have to optimize the way they manage their networks. How do we find our customers, or how do they find us? That's varies from company to company. In our case, we do a lot of what we call inbound marketing. And with inbound marketing, the theory is that you basically try future customers or prospects to find you instead of you going out explicitly and trying to cold call them or finding them, which would be outbound. And we do that mainly following two lines of marketing. One is pay-per-click, which is basically AdWords. And then the other one is search engine optimization on our website by blogging a lot and writing a lot about the pain points and the issues that our customers are facing. Right? So if you're a hospital and your IT department is suffering from network inefficiencies, they would probably open Google and look up something with specific keywords. So we try to optimize our messaging, our website, our blogs, and everything around that, so that when they do the search on Google, our website pops up. And then when it does, there's a some sort of action, a call to action, as it's usually called, where you click a button and you fill out a form and you request a demo or something like that. That's how they find us.
Wow. So
Yeah.
you are basically basing your marketing, everything on IT, on computer software, using Google, using, I don't know, another software that you might be using. But essentially everything is related in the computer, the internet. You're basing all your clients on internet search.
Yeah, you could say that. Not all of them, because some customers, they find us through word of mouth. So someone is already using our
Clients.
software, and then they go and refer us to someone else.
Okay.
Um,
Those are more local or even global, international?
It's globally. It's
Global,
we happen to be in DC, so a lot of people ask us. So you have a lot of federal customers. We do have some, but we're not really regional or local per se. But yeah, there's some word of mouth referrals, and then we do the occasional trade shows. During COVID, that stopped, but that's not really how we get most of our leads. We basically get them through Google. That's That's kind of the name of the game when it comes to
Okay.
this type of software.
Yeah, Google is the master of search right now.
Yeah.
There's another one from Germany I heard. It's called, I forget the name right now, but when you do a click on their search engine, they're planting trees.
Oh, okay.
But this is kind of like a spin-off from Google, but that's what they're doing.
Yeah, there's a number of others. Of course, there's Bing.
There's Bing, yeah, from
There's
Microsoft.
DuckDuckGo, a few others, but yeah, Google is 70, 80, 90% of the market. We have some other channels, and we actually have partners, international partners that distribute our software, and they try to sell it. And we are starting to do some outbound marketing, but yeah, figuring out your marketing channels and how do you get the word out. It's one of the main things. First, you need to know: is there a market out there? Are there people that have that specific pain that your tool, service, or what have you fixes or solves? And if that exists, then you need to be able to build that and scale that in some way. And go-to-market strategy is one big aspect of it.
Well, Johns Hopkins and Maryland University may be one of your clients, or maybe want to be one of your clients for your company.
Actually, the University of Maryland is
Already
is
one
a
of your
customer.
clients. So then Johns Hopkins should jump along.
Maybe, yes.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So since this is for the classes for the students in the entrepreneurship, tell us 3 things that they will learn when they are going into a venture. 3 top things that you should do when you are developing your startup. What are the 3 most important things that you think you need in hand to developing your business?
Ooh, that's a good one. As an individual?
As an individual and as a professional that wants to build a company. 3 top things that you could think of, whether it's budget, clients, market, or developing strategies to get your clients, which you already talked about.
Okay, so that's a good one. I'm gonna.
Let's try with the first one.
Yeah, let's. We can start with. I guess thinking back how it happened with us, and this is going to surprise you. I think you have to have almost a desperate need as a person, and sometimes they say you need to have a business plan and this and that. That's all fine, but I think that if you're going to have your business succeed, you have to have almost like a superhuman, desperate need to make it happen.
Necessity.
Yeah, necessity. And actually, when you talk to a VC, that's one of the things they look. They're going to look you in the eye, and they're gonna try to figure out is this person, is this girl, is this guy desperate, almost.
Are they hungry for business?
Totally hungry. They absolutely. They are burning all the bridges, and they have laser-like focus to go and pursue that. Right. That's the one thing. The second thing is, of course, you have to have. If you want the business to succeed, you have to have a fit in for a customer. You almost have to imagine that customer. We have for our company almost an avatar. We even have a name for this person. His name is Sean, and it's a guy usually because it's an IT. 50 years old, likes to go ice fishing, lives in St. Paul, Minnesota. Doesn't like it when his boss is breathing down his neck, so wants to go home early, fix the network, and is looking for a software to get that done, right? So you almost picture that customer, right? And for every business, that customer is going to be different, but that customer has to exist. There has to be a market for it, simply because you have a desperate idea and a need and a necessity for something doesn't mean that you're gonna have a market fit, right? Because maybe the idea that you have is just too outlandish or too impossible to build, or the technology isn't there. There's no technology convergence for that, or it's going to be too expensive for something that the market is not ready for, et cetera, right? So you have to have a
customer,
a market fit, and a customer, right? And I guess the third thing is you need to have the capability the technical know-how and so on to put a product together that you can scale to that market. I mean, those are three essential things. You ask the same questions to 10 entrepreneurs, and you're probably going to get 10 different answers. But those are probably three that are kind of important.
Okay, John. Thank you for coming. Thank you for
No
having us
problem.
here.
Cheers.
Inviting us to your home, and this is for the entrepreneurship finance class. Thank you.
Thanks.
Now, wow, how many minutes?